listening to JRP Daily, where each day, host Justin Phillips will bring you a new topic surrounding entrepreneurship, marketing, and business. You'll also get exclusive interviews from our guests who have all found a way to turn doing what they love into their career. Stay tuned for all of that and more on JRP Daily.
All right, I've got another interview coming everybody's way. But first of all, my name's Justin Phillips. I'm the host of JRP Daily. My initials are JRP, and I do the show daily. So that's where the name came from. I didn't really put a lot of thought into that, to be honest. Today on the other side here, or this week on the other side here, I have Rodney Miller. And Rodney owns, I guess, Miller Investment Group. Is that the actual name of the company? I feel like I saw a couple MW Capital.
That's our current name.
Okay, so that's what you do. So go ahead and introduce yourself, because you'll do it better than I will, and tell us exactly what you do, what your company, and try to keep it present, and then we'll kind of work our way back and get your background and do that.
Okay. Yeah, my name is Rodney Miller, and I currently own some medical practices here in Oklahoma City. Been an entrepreneur since I was 27. Run these medical practices. I'm not a doctor. I got doctors that work for me, and we been around. I bought it off a doctor in 1975, but it's been a really good. This is my first venture into entrepreneurship. Have that, and I started buying real estate about 15 years ago, I guess.
Yeah.
And decided I need some kind of retirement. Usually, self-employed guys, the only retirement is to sell your business, but I wanted to have some wealth when I retired good. Right. So started buying real estate, single-family homes. Got about 100 of those I manage, or somebody manages for me. And started buying bigger apartment deals and multifamily stuff. And really, that's my passion is to do real estate. So someday I want to sell the practices and just do full-time real estate.
That's the goal to have. So you said you were an entrepreneur since you were 27. What did you do before you were 27?
Well, I went to college, on the advice from my parents and everybody else. Actually, my parents were cool. They were cool if I went or not. But if I did or did not go, they said, I had two paths I was going to take. I was going to start a business, or I was going to go to college.
Right.
And I always had this dream. I'd own an oil change center, or I had just weird, wild dreams of different things that I wanted to do a steak delivery service, stuff like that. And I decided to go to college. I went to North Texas State in Texas. That's where I'm from. And I got a 4-year degree in business. It was my major, and insurance was my minor. My dad was a 35-year insurance executive, so I tried that path out. So got my took me 5 years to get my 4-year degree, and then got out and had a bunch of odd jobs in college, high school, even junior high. And so, I was used to working hard and everything. So I went out and became a claims adjuster. I wanted to leave Dallas, so I got some newspapers from Los Angeles, from Miami and New York, and I started applying for jobs. I just wanted to see something different. And so I got a job in Los Angeles, moved out there, started working as a claims adjuster. Hated every second of it. Hated being in the corporate world. Hated sitting in a cubicle. So I stayed there, got transferred to Houston because I want to get back to Texas, transferred to Dallas. I hopped around companies and just absolutely hated working for a company. So I was looking for a way to jump off of that as fast as I could. And so an opportunity came up to get into the medical field, and I took it. So and never looked back.
Did you have like some interest in the medical field already, or did that opportunity kind of present itself first, and then you were like, oh, here's an opportunity, so I'll get into it?
No, I was just looking for a way to get the hell out of that job.
Well, that's fair enough.
So what happened was these chiropractors would take me to lunch, and they drove these big Mercedes Benz and suits, and they would take me to lunch because they wanted me to settle business. Because basically the job was to process claims when somebody got in a car wreck or got injured.
Yeah.
I would handle it, and then they wanted me to handle it. So they would take me to lunch, and I was like, man, I want to be a chiropractor. I want to get the lifestyle. But I didn't really want to go back to school.
Right.
So I was just like, how can I do this? How can I do this? Anyway, a friend of mine was getting out of chiropractic school about that time. And so I just remember I called him up one day and I said, hey, dude, you know how to crack the bones, and I kind of know the business end of it. Let's buy a clinic somewhere, or let's start a clinic, and we'll, and he's like, sounds good, And so I quit my job that day. My parents thought I was crazy. Everybody thought I was crazy. And we couldn't find a clinic in Dallas, so we found one in Oklahoma City. And we packed up a U-Haul, moved up here, shared a car, bought a clinic, lived on beans and rice. And we made it work, man. We pulled it off. I quit. I mean, it's scary as hell. I didn't have a fallback plan. I didn't have any money, barely any money in the bank, just a little bit. And we bought this old doctor at Dr. Brooks. The clinic's still named the Brooks Clinic. And about a year after we bought it, my partner was homesick and we weren't seeing eye to eye. So I just bought him out. And then I started hiring chiropractors. And then I started hiring doctors after that. And we started growing into multiple other locations. And it just grew and got better and better and better. So I learned really quick that I didn't need a partner that was a doctor. And so I just started hiring. Just started, we put them to work. And so I pay them a salary and they work and I make money off of them. Basically.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Was there more of like a barrier to kind of overcome to get into a medical business? I haven't not talked to a lot of people with medical business. I have friends that want to go into that, but like with privacy laws and like I just feel like the medical world is kind of looks like a headache from the outside looking in. I mean,
yeah, it can be. And there are some hurdles to get into it. Some states won't allow you to own a medical practice if you're not a physician.
Yeah, okay.
Oklahoma does allow that. We couldn't do it in Texas. That's one of the reasons we came to Oklahoma.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't be a partner. And he was like, well, you just work for me. I was like, nah, no thanks.
Yeah.
I want to be a partner. So that's part of the reason we came to Oklahoma. I could be a partner in the clinic. And it's just one of those weird states to where corporate medicine is okay. So I can own it and don't have to be a doctor. They might change it someday, but I've been doing this for a long time and they haven't changed. So kind of a weird little thing. Texas is very strict about that, and some other states are too. But there are a handful that will allow it. That's really the only obstacle. It comes with a major plus because I'm not a doctor, so I can't actually step into the doctor's role. If a doctor leaves, which means I have to run it hands off, which means I don't do a lot of work. I sit back in my office and I can come in my shorts and I don't see patients or anything like that. So it's a pretty sweet deal. Yeah. And doctors running practices is difficult because you're in a room with a patient all day and then you're trying to come out and run the business. And so it's a great deal. I think the doctors like it too, because they can go home, forget about it. They don't have to work, they don't have to worry about the books or making payroll or any of that crap. So it's
exactly. So is that more so kind of what you do in your medical, or at least when you were starting, especially is the accounting, the marketing to whatever extent, like the business aspect of everything? Was that your job or was that all?
Everything, man. I did the books. I greeted the patients. I hooked them up on therapies. We had a shuttle van that we drove around, picked them up if they didn't have a ride.
Oh, that's cool.
Shuttle van, I did it all. We literally shared a car. We were so broke. We shared a 2-bedroom apartment and we had to drive to work together and drive home together in a car. So we used that one car for our shuttle service too. And we patients and stuff. So now in any business, you got to do everything yourself first.
Right.
And then you've got to learn it and then you can delegate that stuff out to others. And now I work on strategy. Where are we going to put the next location? How are we going to advertise it? Are we going to bring in partners to carry us through the 1 year it takes to get profitable? Just the high strategy stuff that doesn't really, that's more, I can come and go, do it out of my house, whatever.
Right. Yeah, no, I can see that. And you say you have to do everything at first when you're starting a business. I think that's true. Or at least I think it's true that you need to kind of understand how everything works. You need to know what's going on. That's one of my things I talk to people because they just say, outsource. And I agree to that to some extent. Like you need to hire people and get things done or else you don't really grow. There's a ceiling on you. But at the same time, it's like if you don't understand anything about doing the books or anything about advertising, like how do you know if the guys that you're hiring to do that are doing their job or not? So
I think it's very important you do it yourself first, and then you delegate. You definitely want to get to the delegation part.
Yeah,
definitely but do yourself first and understand how the processes work. Tweak them, get them the way you want them, and then delegate to somebody, and then have oversight, checks and balances, and make sure they're doing it right.
Right. That probably gives you a much higher appreciation for the work that people are doing then too. So,
how are you gonna know how hard their job is if you haven't done it before?
right,
You
yeah,
never know if they're slacking or if they're pushing themselves if if you haven't done it before. Because you can call bullshit on them. Oh, really? It's too much work? I did it.
yeah,
Oh my God. 5 hours, they're taking 8 hours. Well, where's
yeah,
so yeah, I think you need to
yeah. So I guess it's kind of a blessing and a curse, but do it yourself first. I guess that's the thing. So then you've ended up in this, kind of investments, more of a financial type of thing, as far as I understand, and doing the real estate and all that. So when did that click for you? And when did you decide, like, hey, I'm gonna do real estate now too? Was it just something that came up? Were you saving up to be able to buy your first home, or like, what's your story with real estate?
So I got into my late 30s, I guess, and I was married, had kids. And I remember my dad had retired at 55 from the insurance company. And I was getting close to 40 and I was like, damn, that 55 is coming fast. I have no
Yeah.
retirement plan whatsoever,
Wow.
I better figure something out. And so I started researching different things I could do, and putting 10% in the stock market or the mutual
Mhm.
funds ain't gonna get you there.
Yeah.
Not the way I want to live anyway. So
Yeah.
um, the clearest path was start acquiring assets, cash flowing assets,
Mhm.
man, starting to buy real estate. And so that's what I did. I cracked some books on it, found a mentor, found a group, and just immersed myself in it and just started buying houses like crazy.
That's awesome.
And
Yeah.
it really paid off. It's what I enjoy doing more, man. Real estate's fun. Real estate's just a fun thing to do. You're out in the field, you're meeting cool people. Everything's a transaction. So, with the clinic, we do the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
You know, every transaction is different in real estate. Everything's different. And when you're done with it, you set it up, it starts throwing cash off, then you move to the next deal. The next deal's totally different. So it's
Yeah.
project driven stuff.
Yeah.
If you're doing it right, the projects get bigger, bigger,
Mhm.
and bigger. So
Did you know much about real estate, like, before you got into it, or was there kind of like a jump off the diving board, like, I'm gonna start learning this and doing it kind of
I didn't know
attitude for it?
anything, man. I didn't know it was behind a wall. I had no idea it was behind a wall. I didn't know that there was insulation in there with some wires,
Right.
I had no idea. Totally clueless. Never even thought about it. Never had to. Never did
Yeah.
construction. So, it was a totally jumping off point.
Yeah. And do you do real estate, like, all the way around, like, flipping houses and renting and, like, the whole 360 kinda there? Do you do?
I have done it all. I've rented house. I mean, I've flipped houses. I was a big wholesaler for a while to where I would just get a house under contract and I'd sell the contract for 10 grand to somebody else and they would close on it and I get my
Okay.
referral check. So
Yeah.
that's how a lot of people get started in real estate.
Yeah.
I loaned money to people, other real estate investors. Um, bought notes and mortgages, you name it. I mean, I've kind of done it, but I've settled on. I mean, the long term real wealth strategy is buy and hold real estate and get the cash flow.
Yeah.
'Cause
How
the other ways are just jobs. You gotta find that next deal. You've got to advertise to get it. You've got to. It's just a job. So the key when you're an employee, I mean, when you're a entrepreneur, usually I think that the right path to take is to try to get more passive as you get older and have more passive income coming in than active. So eventually
Mhm.
you don't have to show up and work.
Yeah.
You can manage your assets and become a full-time investor.
Yeah. That'd be super cool. And I'm sure that sounds attractive to anyone listening. Maybe there's more to it that you should obviously research first.
Sure.
But that's I think that's the idea for most people now, is to try to get passive income coming in. And because there's a lot more growth there too. It's like that ceiling I said earlier. You can get passive income from 17 different places, and it all builds on each other. Whereas if you're getting active income, there's a cap somewhere, because there's only so much work you can do in a day and only so much activity you can do in a day. So there's all of that. What were you doing first in real estate? Wholesaling? Is that what you were doing, like, kind of out of the
Now
gate?
I started off rehabbing, so buy a house and then put some money into it, and then put it up retail,
Oh,
sell,
okay.
and then I realized that I was paying 30% taxes on that sale. So then I would try to hold them for a year, lease them out for a year, and then sell them, and then I could pay capital gains tax, which I think is 15% at the time.
Okay.
And then I got to where I would just buy it for 30,000, put maybe 10 into it, have 40 into it, and then I would sell it on our finance for 80, with 10,000 down, and I'd carry it for 15 years and just make money on the payments.
Mhm.
Um, that and then I just got into straight rentals, just holding the rentals, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of nice. So, were you using money? I guess that's probably the only money you had, like from the medical practices. Was that first? And then you're using what you're making there in order to get started into real estate. Is that how you were funding that?
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of money. I mean, we were doing okay here, but not like we are now. But if you do real estate right and you learn it the right way, if you buy houses right, you buy them cheap
Yeah.
enough, the bank will give you 100% of your money. So
Okay.
you can buy the house, fix it up, put money into it, and if you're into it for 50,000, but it's worth 80, the bank will give you your whole 50,000 back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that
So
I didn't know. So
yeah, and so
that's
now you've got a cash flowing asset that you don't have $1 in the deal.
yeah,
That's what I always strove for. I wanted to not have any of my money in the deal. And once you learn the power of that,
yeah,
pretty cool. But it all comes down to how well you buy houses.
yeah,
You got to buy them cheap
yeah,
to make it work.
yeah, yeah. And you said you got a mentor when you started doing real estate, right? Would you advise that people get a mentor to get into?
Absolutely. Anything you want to do in life, if you want to take yourself to the next level, find people that are doing it, find groups that are doing it, join those groups. Find somebody that's really successful at it, whether it's real estate, trading stocks and bonds, um, you know, starting startup companies, whatever. Offer to work for free or cheap, and get in that circle, man, and learn.
Yeah,
Even if you gotta to do it for free, because it'll
yeah,
pay in the long run.
yeah. Definitely will. So what did you go through on your own when you were trying to find yourself a mentor? Like how did you go about getting one? Were you just kind of connecting with everyone you saw in real estate? Or did you kind of see people and thought like this guy is on the path that I want to be on? Maybe I'll try to reach out to him. Was there a family friend? Like what was the
Let's talk about more recently when I decided I wanted to buy multifamily larger deals, 100 units,
yeah,
300 units, the big deals.
yeah.
I was always a single family guy, and so that scared the crap out of me, man. Those are big numbers. That's millions of dollars. Only rich guys do that. And I thought that's why I waited so long to get into it. I wish I would not have waited so long. So I read a few books on it, and I was like, that's really not that big of a deal. You know? It's just a process, just like buying houses. It's just different. The number's a little bit bigger, but it doesn't have to be my money. So there are ways to do this. And so I read a few books, and then I started Googling groups around the
Mhm.
country and mentors, and they were charging 30,000, 50,000. I mean, there's some expensive mentors out there.
Right.
But I landed on a group out of Dallas, and it's just a bunch of investors, and I go there once a month and mingle with those people. I wound up partnering with two guys. One guy owned a 50 complex, and another guy was a really good spreadsheet guy, financial guy. He liked analyzing deals, and that's pretty important in this business.
Mhm.
We partnered up and we started our own company, and we bought our first 100 unit in Pryor, Oklahoma, and now we're looking. That was a $4 million deal, and so our next deal we raised $1.5 million for that. Another big part of it is learning how to raise money,
Yeah.
because if you can learn how to raise money from other people, that's what makes it work.
Yeah.
So we raised $1.5 million. It's fairly easy, and now we're going to try to do a 15 to $20 million deal and we've raised about 5 million for our next deal. And so the numbers just get better and better and better. But it came through a partnership, man. I met these guys. I met the people in the group. A lot of the people in the group that we met invested in our deal. So it's just finding the groups of people that are doing what you want to do and get in the middle of it.
Getting them. Yeah. Yeah, that's something I've talked about very recently on here is trying to just be aware of who you're around and make sure that they're not only, because people say elevate your peer group such and such, like you can get yourself involved with some very successful people that are just going to be totally useless to you because they're successful in God knows what. And you want to do real estate or you want to do media or
Sure.
you want to do this, that. So, like, don't make sure the people are successful so much as like relevant to what it is that you want to do.
This is
So,
and
so
you
yeah,
hang around with successful people just for that mindset and just so that'll rub off on you.
yeah,
That's good. I mean, nothing
yeah,
wrong with that.
yeah,
Ups your
yeah,
game, makes you, oh, that guy gets with five and works out. Oh shit.
yeah,
Just little things like that you pick up from successful people.
yeah,
But when you want to do
yeah.
something specific, you're right. You got to find the people who are
Mhm.
doing what you want to do and then go learn from them and get in those groups. So,
Yeah. And those are probably the people you want to hold closer, I'd kind of say, or like more closer to you, that you want to actually be real friends with. Because there are successful people all over the place now, especially on the internet. You can listen to podcasts, you could get all this information, you could read the books, you could do this, that, and the other. So when it comes to like your actual peer group, though, I'd say it's probably better to be around other people trying to do and work with them, work
oh, I
with
agree.
people
I
instead of
agree.
for people.
But on the other note,
Uh,
like when I was 10 years ago, man, when I was not focused and I was just kind of farting around and, I had the clinic and I was doing pretty good. I was doing
yeah,
some real estate. Um, I was hanging out drinking beer with my contractors
yeah,
and, just folks that weren't going to help me get anywhere. And I was just
yeah.
killing time. And just looking back, I'm like, damn, what were you thinking? And one day this- I just got pissed off at myself. I said, dude, you need to up your game, man. Cause you always hear hang out with the five people you hang out with is,
Yeah.
I took a look. And I was like, damn, why am I for long? Look at what I'm hanging out.
Yeah.
Look at what I'm doing with my time. And
Yeah.
so, at the same time in my clinic, I had these doctors, all these doctors working for me and
Mhm.
attorneys that I work with, and I wasn't hanging out with them. I was like, why are you hanging out with your contractor? So I made a mental shift that I was going to start hanging out with these folks, and
Yeah.
I joined some other groups. There's a group called Visage where it's just a bunch of CEOs, and we get together once a month and just troubleshoot
Okay.
problems, and so I started getting around people with money and a little more drive, and it makes a big difference. It just
Yeah.
totally kicking the butt. You see what they're doing motivates you to think bigger, move faster, and
Mhm.
totally,
Yeah.
definitely gotta watch who you hang out with.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. So, what would you say is one of the biggest mistakes or obstacles you've come across that you might want to warn people about? You might want to avoid, like, what's the biggest mistake you've encountered in business or particularly real estate, whichever one, but like,
Following the herd, man, it's the biggest mistake. And if I talk to young people, man, my God, get out of the rat race as fast as you can. It's just a dead end, man. It's a dead end trap. Yes, you can make lots of money. You can make a good salary. You
yeah,
can do well, and you can get your Lexus and whatever.
yeah,
You're gonna work your ass off. You're gonna be working somebody else rich. You're going to
hmm,
be working 5 days a week until you're 60, 65, and then you're still probably gonna
yeah,
be working 5 days a week.
yeah,
They tell you go to school, get a good
mhm,
degree, go work for somebody, get your raises, do your 401k, put 10% in it, and then someday when you're
mhm,
65 or 70, you're gonna get to retire. And
yeah,
that, man, get out of that.
yeah,
Do your own thing, man. Don't get cog in a wheel like that. You know, I I know it's not for everybody, but if you've
right,
got the mentality and you've got the drive,
yeah,
get out as fast as you can. Yeah, you
yeah,
might you go to college if you feel like that's necessary and get that first job, you know. Um, but be looking for your exit plan, man. Be creating,
mhm,
try to invent something, try to create something, try to buy a business out that's already existing and grow that business to, you know, look for something you can improve the value on. Just find a way to get out. Do your
mhm,
own thing, man. Don't wait for that 10% or 6% raise every year. Don't wait for your boss to give you that 3 weeks vacation. Oh, if I make it 10 years, I get the fourth week of vacation or the third week. Screw that.
yeah.
That's all crap, man. Um, that is my biggest pet peeve.
Yeah, I
Totally.
I can believe that. Sure sounds like it. And by the way, you give me a real Grant Cardone vibe. I don't know if you've ever been told that before, but you
Dude,
just do.
it's funny. I went to a conference in Denver and I got told by three people. I've never been told this. You look like Grant Cardone. And then I got told a week ago, and I've never been told that in my life. So I don't know, man. I think it's an insult to him, but
It probably is, but yeah,
10 exit, baby.
you do. You do. You sound like him. Do you talk like him? But
I got that southern drawl, man.
yeah, yeah, I like it. Now what was I just gonna ask you too? So I was gonna ask you what advice you would give to people, but it's probably along the same lines of what you just said. Like, get out of the get out of the rat race. And but what?
Man, let me tell you something. I know a lot of doctors that hate their jobs. They make great money. They drive nice cars. Um, they hate what they do.
Yeah.
They look for a way out. They want to get into real estate. I get asked all the time, how do you get into real estate? By doctors, by attorneys, by people that are making $3, $4, $5, $600,000. You can make a lot of money working for somebody, or they work for
Yeah.
hospitals, and the hospitals are working their asses off. Telling them when they can take vacation, telling them, it's just a grind. So it's not just for the $50,000 a year worker, but all the way up the chain, man. You're not truly free in this world if you have a boss and you get a W-2 paycheck and you're relying on them. If you get fired, you have no income. If if the economy goes bad and you get laid off, you have no income. Your boss determines your raise. I hate that. I hate it. And so I try to tell everybody, and I got nephews and stuff. They're not gonna listen to me. But that's my rant, man. It seems like you're already going down that path. You're looking for your.
Oh yeah, yeah, I am. I'm looking for. I'd say what I'm doing is just trying to make the most out of what, like, my time on the planet. It's just I kind of did. I mean, I did the same thing everybody else did. I ran into Russell Brunson, Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, who have you, that were saying all this
I had
stuff.
ClickFunnels, by the way.
Gary V. I did for a while. I got out of
I
that.
got rid of it too, man. I couldn't.
Shameless plug to ClickFunnels real quick. I think they're awesome if you're using them for your company, stuff like that, but don't fall into that affiliate marketing trap. That's what I did. And that was something I had to get out of quick. But anyway, I'm not talking about ClickFunnels. But I just found all those guys. And
so you're looking, man. I mean, you're looking for it, and that's huge. Most people don't even look. They put their heads down. And the problem most people have is they start looking when they're 40 and they have 3 kids and a wife, and
not only do people
it's really hard.
Not only do people not look, they I swear some people are intentionally looking the other way. When I'll talk to my friends, I'll talk to people around here, be like, oh, I want to try to start something, I want to do this, that, and the other. And you know what the responses are: just get your degree, then get your master's, then that's the biggest argument I have with my friends anymore lately.
Yeah, give up. Just don't even,
I'm gonna get my bachelor's degree and get out if that.
That's one thing I noticed when I became an entrepreneur and I got married. We would go to, our kids have friends, and we go to parties, and everybody had a job, and I would try to talk to them about, what I did, and they were just, and so for a while there, I get pissed off and be like, "What I do is cool. You should, man. How do you not understand how awesome this is? I'm free. I don't have to go to work in the morning. I can do whatever I want." But eventually, I just gave up, and you want to scream from the rooftops, but it is, being an entrepreneur is lonely business, man, because there aren't a lot of us out there. So.
It is kind of lonely, and it's just that confusion that you see in most people when you try to talk about it. And I try to explain the difference between how getting a paycheck from someone works and actually generating that paycheck for other people, or they're just different ball games. And
you understand it though. That's 90% of it. Most people don't understand it. They don't want to understand it.
So and some
good
people,
for you, man, and you're young.
Yeah.
You're young, man.
Yeah.
Do it. You can take risks.
Yeah, Gary V has pounded that into my head. Don't worry. So.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. So, but what was I going to say with that? It's just some people cannot understand this concept. I just talked to them about it, of not getting a paycheck, not being handed a paycheck for doing something, and actually having someone give you the money in order to fund that paycheck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
See, that's actually a good thing, because someday they'll work for you.
Yeah. Hopefully that'll be the fun idea. So, we'll see how that turns out, is my philosophy on that. I can't predict the future, and I don't act like I can, but so.
You're really good, man. I can already tell. I can tell by talking to you, man, and by just the way you've done this podcast and stuff.
Yeah.
That's huge. Shows your character, shows you're a hard worker, and you're just going to try things. You've looked up the right people, and you're studying the right folks, and man, just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate that, and I really will, and I get that a lot now too on the show.
Have you
So,
ever read The Millionaire Fast Track?
no.
Get that book. You'll like it.
All right, I will. I have about a list of 2,000 books right now that
You've read Rich Dad Poor Dad, right?
I haven't got that one either, but that one
Oh my
I've been
God,
like
you gotta
saying,
read that.
yeah, I've been needing to get my hands on that for the past couple of months. I'm in Think and Grow Rich right now. I've read all Russell Brunson's books, 10X Rule, all that stuff. So it's just
Cool.
I'm just trying to pound through them. But that's something else too. Is just learning has become like a huge, and self education has become a huge like core value of mine. And part of this podcast is dedicated specifically to that. My friend and I do. We co-host. It's this podcast, but on Sundays each week we'll do a particular segment for students in and out of the classroom. So we do just these episodes once a week on how to be a better learner and learn more efficiently and study better. So that way it's for college students, not college students, wherever you are. And that's become a huge aspect of it and just staying in that growth mindset. So
the bulk of your listeners, are they young college students, folks trying to figure out what they're going to do with their lives? And
as far as I know, that's
I think this is a really important. I think you're doing the right thing because folks need to reach these folks and kind of try to motivate them to think outside the box.
I think some people need to kind of blow their minds open a little bit more too, and just kind of just look at what these people are saying, because the other big problem that especially internet entrepreneurs have that I see is like everyone now wants to call everything a scam. Every goddamn thing out there, they want to say it's a scam because they're trying to take my money. I'm like, that's how a business works. They're going to try to take your money. But
Yep.
if they're providing you with something for it, then not particularly a scam. And I think people miss a lot of opportunities because of that mentality. I think
Absolutely.
I never would have gotten wrapped up as much as we were like half trashing ClickFunnels there. Russell Brunson's the reason I started this podcast. And this podcast is the reason I've talked to Andy Frisella, who hosts the top business podcast on the charts. And I've talked to Dave Meltzer, and I've talked to Scott Tyndall, who's been through Shark Tank, and I've thought like all these other people. So
yeah, see, you're not using ClickFunnels, but that led you down the path that you're on now.
Yeah.
You never know how things are going to fan out, but I mean, just getting in the game will take you. It's 99% of it. Get in the game, and by you looking at Russell Brunson, path, and look at you now, man.
And just one foot in front of the other the whole way there, and looking forward is something I was just talking about. I did an interview right before you here today, like an hour ago, and we were talking about looking forward a lot. And my new saying that I just picked up from a different podcast I walked is like the front windshield's a lot bigger than the rear view mirror for a reason, is because you need to see the bigger picture and you need to be looking in front of you, because if you're looking behind you the whole time, you're just going to crash and burn.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing about finding these gurus too is, I mean, there's a saying, it's what is that thing I'm saying? It's a formal education will get you a job.
Yeah.
But what have you heard that one? But
I think I know where you're going. Self-education.
Self-education will make you wealthy.
Yeah. Yeah, something in that regard at least.
I'm done with school, man. I'm done. Yeah. That's when you start learning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cracking the books, and you figure out, how to save money on taxes, how to get assets, little cash flow, how to eventually, lead the rat race and live the good life.
Yeah.
Good life, right? You can't do that if you're in a cubicle or in the corner office, 40, 50 hours a week.
Yeah, and I can really hardly imagine that people actually think they're going to get through college and be done learning. Like that mentality is just absurd to me. Like, I don't know what they think they're going to be doing that whole time, and if they think that whatever industry they end up in is going to stay the same forever, or if they think that they're just going to be, I don't know, picking up boxes for their whole life, in which case they probably didn't need to go to college, and that kind of a thing. So I was just about to say something else too. Having fun here. I don't think I have any more questions for you right off the top of my head. Oh, my other favorite thing, this is what I was just going to bring up too, because it kind of started to do with the self-education, is like that can be like a supplement to a formal education, because people are going to listen to this that are in college, and some people are so binary. And I didn't realize this until about a week ago, about being formally educated or being self-educated. And to anyone that's connected with me on LinkedIn, Uh, a few weeks ago, I did an interview with one of my friends that does a podcast similar to this one. He's right around my age. His name's Andre Heichel Jr. So you can go look at that episode, listeners, if you want to.
Greg
And
Eckel Jr.,
Andre Heichel Jr.
Andre Heichel. Okay.
Yes, and he started a podcast called Real Talk University, right around the same time as this one. He lives like an hour up the road from me, so it was kind of coincidental that we ran into each other. But yeah, so I was talking to him, and we were talking about self-education, and I made a clip for Instagram, just a segment of that podcast to like promote it. I put it on LinkedIn when he was saying, what we were saying was that, well, we think there's a problem with in the education system now where we don't really teach how to learn. People should open themselves up to books and podcasts and YouTube and whatever else they can learn from and teach themselves on the side. And I'll tell you, there are these guys in the comments. He posted that to his LinkedIn, and there are people in the comments just antagonizing us, saying we're dumb, saying that a college degree is important. It was the funniest thing too, because I guarantee they didn't realize we were both in college. And you get that. I just have to complain about that guy. I think he was from like Australia, no profile picture, like a structural engineer or something, saying we're batshit crazy for trying to educate ourselves. And I think it's the funniest thing.
Didn't Russell Brunson say if you're going to have haters, 10%, 5% are going to be your just haters. They're going to be the loudest people on the forums, and they're just going to ride your ass, and they're going to hate what you do. And that's how you know you're winning.
Yeah.
You got your haters.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know.
You're not making an impact. So
yeah, and that's definitely. I mean, not that I'm bothered by it. I just love watching them because, first of all, I know inside of me in that moment that I read a comment that says like, are you fucking nuts on LinkedIn for saying what I do or something like that? It's like, that's when I know that what I said like struck a nerve, you know what I mean? When it actually got to someone. And another thing, someone I follow on Instagram put up recently too, is he always says your haters are your biggest fans because they're the ones that are consistently on your profile, looking at your stories, looking at your this, that, and the other.
Especially that. I mean, they're hating on you, but they're almost obsessed with you because they're not going away.
You have to be obsessed with someone to hate them. Like,
I think so. I think
you do, and like I was watching the Joe Rogan Experience the other day too. I think it was the one he did with Kevin Hart. Joe Rogan said that when he was doing comedy, he used to have a bit about like, do you think Michael Jordan posts comments on YouTube? And it's like, no, of course not. Like nobody that's actually achieving somewhere knows what they're talking about is going on LinkedIn and looking up podcasts that are being run by kids half their age and just writing in the comments that they're like, I don't know what goes through people's heads, man. But I just thought I'd share that story real quick because
that's interesting. Yeah, man. I think I don't know how I deal with that because I don't have any major platform like that. But if you start reaching people on a fairly decent sized scale, you're gonna have a bunch of assholes
for sure.
That are gonna like try to bring you down, man. I guess that's a sign that you're
I've been
doing something right.
Yeah, I say all the time that if nobody hates me, then I know I'm doing something wrong. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
I tweet that out like once a month just because it always pops into my mind and I always feel the need to get it out there and just let the people know like it's not going to stop me.
Yeah.
Like I don't really care what you tell me. It's not going to stop me from anything. I've never, or I consider myself to never have been like 100% influenced by anything someone says. I've just taken everything and go the way that I think I want to and see where it leads me.
And well, I'll tell you what, man, because what you do is really, it's not as easy as people think it is.
Because
I mean, not just the technical part, but just the emotional getting in your head, because I was going to do a podcast, for multifamily real estate, because a lot of people want to raise money, do a podcast.
Yeah.
And I had it, and I had 10 episodes taped. I'd done 10 interviews, and I couldn't hit send. I had them produced. I had them on Lipson. They're ready to go.
Yeah.
And the guy goes, okay, as soon as we hit send, you need to do one a week, and you have to keep cranking them out. And I was like, oh shit, I'm going to put it out there. What are my friends and family going to think? What's everybody going to think that's known me forever? Oh, this is just Rodney Miller. What's he think? Who do you think he is? And you
Right.
start thinking about you're putting yourself out there to everybody, and
Hmm.
oh my God,
Yeah.
this is a lot bigger than just sticking some stuff online. If you're really to promote it and you're going to push it out to your friends and family, and the haters are going to come, it's like, it's kind of a tough
Yeah.
decision to make. And I never hit send. So good to you hit send. You
Yeah.
did it.
I did hit send. It is kind of a very, it is a jump off the diving board type of thing, as opposed to trying to get your feet wet first. And like that's the worst thing you can do, both in the literal pool and in this realm too. And both something that myself and Andre, like I was just saying, talk about all the time. We started ours at the same time. And the funniest thing in the world too is I do think people that want to start a podcast and such, like it is just overthinking it too much. And because the first I started two podcasts at the same time. The one I do with my friend on Sundays I was talking about. It used to be two separate podcasts. And then eventually I just said, you know what, I'm already doing this every day. I'm doing it twice on Sundays. I told him, I'm like, let's just put this under this roof so that way I only have to do 7 a week instead of 8. And then I can kind of have a day off from doing my own thing. But our first episode of the podcast we were doing, we recorded on my phone. We got the Anchor app, we downloaded it, we hit the record button, we talked for half an hour, we stopped it, we hit upload. Like it was the worst thing in the world. And I don't, it's still on there somewhere. I haven't listened to it in a long time. Even if you listen to episode one of this podcast, like it's amazing the difference
I'm going
in
to. Yeah, I
in
want to hear.
in
I want to hear. That's
quality
that's the
and
one after your personal story, right?
yeah, pretty much. Well, yeah, I guess. I don't know what I did. Sometimes I'll call my first one episode 0, sometimes episode 1. But
Yeah,
either way,
your
you
first.
know,
Yeah, I want to, because that's always fascinating to see somebody that's got a
yeah.
bunch of episodes under their belt and then go back and listen to
Yeah.
the first one to see,
Yeah. Oh my
what
gosh.
it's
I
talking
went
about.
back and like I was so like not even nervous, but I was just so I was so boring. I was so like it's funny. And then I look back at it now, I just smile. I'm like, damn. Because I know that if I never did that, if back in October or no, it was October, I think, that I started doing this thing. I know if I thought then like, well, I need to learn how to edit the audio first. I need to learn the best way to record. I need to get the best mic. I still wouldn't have started the podcast till today.
Yeah,
And now, but like it's like the first like 40 episodes just sound like garbage. And then around like episode 90, I think, is when I got audio editing software and started doing it. And I got this mic somewhere along the line, and I have like 3 microphones now. I don't know how I ended up with all of them. And I'm interviewing people, and I'm learning to reach out to guests. And
you got the expensive fancy backdrop.
yeah, yeah, that right there. $3,000 to be in this room. So, but yeah, so it's crazy where it can take you, and also the things you don't think about where it's going to take you. One of the best things that's come out of my podcast is that I've learned to edit audio, edit videos, like make these little teaser videos for Instagram and stuff like that. And now I have just a couple because I just do it on the side from school. But I was telling you earlier, it could very well culminate into a business is I have people that I edit their videos for them so they can put them on Instagram and they look better. So it's like I started making money not directly through the podcast because I've put ads on here before and I make like 1 cent per episode when I do that. So I took them back out because I think it re- just repels followers
You
at
got
that point.
passive income.
Yeah, but yeah, but like it makes me money through the sense that I learned how to do the things that I need to know how to do,
Yeah,
and everybody thought I was crazy too. And my parents, they are really good at kind of not telling me like you shouldn't do this, you should do this. So much as just like I think you're nuts, and me just being like okay, and then it just kind of disseminates from there. But I bought the full uh, Adobe suite to do all the video editing, audio editing, stuff like that. It's like $21 a month for student discount. You get like
so you
60%
do all
off.
this yourself. You edit
Mhm.
it. You tweak
Yeah,
the
oh yeah,
audio. You do your
yeah,
intros. You do your.
yeah,
That's a
yeah.
lot of work.
The only thing I haven't done in this podcast is I hired a voiceover actor to do the intro and the outro. I just did a new outro myself that's going to get updated, but other
Let me
than that,
guess.
I
You do it
mean,
on Fiverr.
yeah. Yeah. Yep, I went to Fiverr. I got a guy and I listened to his podcast for a while too, and I was like, I'll use this guy for my intro and that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm still I manage my own content, social media,
My gosh, dude, have
editing,
you
all
gone
that.
online and like Googled all the people that are charging for their how to start a podcast course. I
Yeah.
mean, tons of them. And so it's just like the funnel, Russell Brunson. I'll teach you how to do a podcast. Oh, well, that's a lot of work. I'll do the
Yeah.
work for you.
Yeah.
Come to our, service.
Yeah.
We'll charge you $800 a month. We'll get you
Yeah.
one a week, for that, and we'll transcribe it for you, and then we'll post it out to Facebook and all that, and we'll,
Yeah.
put it on your blog. There's
Yeah.
a whole industry popping up over that.
Yeah.
And podcasts are growing so fast.
No, they are. Yeah, I keep trying to tell people that, it's it's booming. The
Yeah.
like the podcasting world and
There's your business.
yeah.
I'll be your first customer.
Sweet. Look at that. Look what I just did as a result of the podcast.
See?
So, but yeah, so that's kind of how the cookie crumbles, I guess. But yeah, I think
I
that pretty
remember when I was gonna do my podcast, I Googled and I just found, people that were offering to walk you through it. And of course that they had their courses and maybe
yeah,
$500 or whatever. But then they offer to hold your hand and do all the work for you. You don't have time to do it. And so,
yeah.
there was a lot of that out there.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of a gray area with me, honestly, because it's really just gray with me when you get into like the topic of like online course selling stuff like that, because some of them are not ethical, some of them I think are perfectly fine,
Yep.
and people like to debate with about like Ty Lopez all the time is the big one, but
What is?
the guy Ty Lopez and his
Yeah, I've seen stuff on him. He's a big
social
internet
media
marketer. Yeah.
marketing, yeah. But yeah, and I just found a new podcast I liked watching the other day, and I reached out to the host of it because he does a thing too. He does like a 3 month training, and it's like $15,000 3 months, and I'm like, God damn, like stuff like that. And I actually reached out to him. He answered me, and uh, I mean, I give him some credit for he helped me out with a couple of the questions I had, but then somewhere down the line he said, "Hey, if you want to do a one-on-one coaching call for me, I usually charge like $1,200 for a 1 hour call, but I'm giving you a deal of like $600 or something." And I told him I was like, I don't $600 an hour doesn't sound like a deal to me, and then I carried on, but
Is that London Freed,
it's a
London
no,
real guy? Oh,
no,
okay. He had a
no,
big
it's
course coming up. I saw it advertised on Facebook.
I am friends with, and I've interviewed a guy that was mentored by Brian Rose from London Real, and he runs a podcast called American Real,
Okay.
and he's out of Binghamton, New York, and he's someone I reach out to when he's kind of like a low key mentor of mine, but so yeah, they're out there obviously,
Look,
and
man, when I was learning real estate, I went to all the courses I could find. I bought the courses. I went to the seminars, run to the back of the room, and I'd buy 3 more seminars. I spent a lot of money. Some sucked, some were really good. A lot of times I could get a nugget out of one of them that I paid a couple thousand for. People that are like, oh, that's bullshit. It is what it is. You want to learn something, you got to pay people to learn it, and you got to figure out who the shucksters are and who aren't. And sometimes you get screwed and sometimes you don't. And it's just part of it. Spend the money, collapse your time frames. You ever heard of collapsing time frames? Try to learn it yourself. The time frame is going to be really long.
Yeah.
Find somebody who'll teach it to you, and you got to pay money. Collapse that time frame, get there faster, and make money faster. I mean, it's just a no-brainer.
And my favorite thing about that, especially hearing it around myself since I'm in college at the moment, is my favorite calling it a scam because everyone's sitting here paying $30,000 a year to do the same thing, to learn something from somebody. I remember a couple years ago, I almost got into this course that was like $2,000 to start your own bookkeeping business because I was an accounting major original. Well, I was a music education major really originally, but then I came back for accounting, and then I got into financial planning, which is just kind of like the mirror of accounting. But I and I was telling people, I was like, I found this thing online for $2,000. That's like start your own bookkeeping business. It seems pretty cool, and they're like, oh, you should pay that later. Or my favorite one was, oh, isn't your degree going to teach you how to do that? And I was like, yeah, my degree cost me $100,000. This guy's thing cost me $2.
See, I would have, if I was you, shit, I would have bought it.
Yeah,
but I'm too quick to buy things.
yeah,
I'm in, man. I'll do it. But I mean, I'll give you an example. I went to when I wanted to do multifamily. The group I joined in Dallas, $25,000. I paid for that. 25,000. And I told some people that, like, you're an idiot. Why'd you do that?
yeah,
you could buy an apartment complex without that group. It's like, maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I could also screw up and, talking millions of dollars. One screw up can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. So is it really that expensive?
Yeah.
So, paid 25 grand and was in a $4 million deal a year later. I'd say it's a pretty good payoff, man. I mean, that's, you just got to spend the money. You got to do it. There are people out there that have the knowledge that you need. And sometimes you just got to do it. On the note of your finance major,
Yeah.
if I was going to tell people to go to college, finance and accounting, man, two things that you take with you to any business job. But business, if you really want to go into business, those are two that are very valuable in any business setting. So if you were going to get a degree, a 4-year degree, I would say that would be ways to go.
Yeah, especially at least in the business realm. And obviously, what everybody says all the time, if you're going doctor, lawyer, like those are still the college things to go, right? But like, I know what you're saying.
You definitely want to go to the best colleges and you want to get the best degrees. But anything less than that, you don't need to freaking go to Harvard to get your business degree.
Yeah.
I guess you want to be a Harvard lawyer. It might make
potentially.
And if you're going on debt, if you're financing that stuff, geez.
Yeah, I hear that too. But I agree with you on the accounting finance thing. That's another thing I tell people all the time is I'm really into marketing. They say, why don't you major in marketing? And I say, because I don't need to. Like, if I know people personally, I know people online, I know people I've talked to through the podcast, so I'd call that like semi-personally, I guess, that have very good marketing jobs that did not go to college. It's not something you need college for. My favorite one is an entrepreneurship degree.
What degree?
An entrepreneurship degree. We have
that
program.
Yeah, those started to get popular when I got out of school. There were colleges that were having those, and I'm trying to think of what they would teach you, but I guess I don't know. Evaluation, some accounting, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think you're on the right track, especially if you want to be self-employed someday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
definitely want to have that.
Definitely do. So, yeah, I think that wraps it up. I think we kind of touched on just about everything there. So, any last words of advice for people or for anyone further behind you on the path that wants to get into, well, for you, I guess, medical clinics or real estate? You're pretty well into both of those.
Man, if you want to be an entrepreneur someday, just keep your eyes open for opportunities, man. They're everywhere. You just got to be ready to take advantage of them. I could tell you 3 or 4 times when opportunities fell into my lap that I could or could not have taken advantage of them, but I did, and I was prepared to take advantage of them. If you just want to have a job, I don't really have much advice for you. Go get a job.
Listen to the rest of society, I guess, right? If you want to do that, find someone else that just has a job to tell you how to do that, because that's not what Rodney here does.
That's not my thing, man.
Better way to put it. So, but yeah, guys, that wraps it up. So, in case you haven't been paying attention this whole time, you're listening to or watching JRP Daily, depending on what means you get this through. And subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. And we'll see you around in the next week, I guess. Hey guys, it's Justin here, and I just want to thank you so much for making it to the end of this episode. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe both to the YouTube channel and whatever audio streaming platform you use. Subscribe to JRP Daily on both, because I put content up on the audio that doesn't go in video and vice versa. So make sure you are subscribed to both of those things. Likewise, if you are on YouTube, don't forget to hit the like button down below and leave a comment with your thoughts or your questions for us, and we will get on that ASAP. And lastly, if you have any friends or anybody that you think could benefit from seeing this, or even if you don't, share it with those friends, or share it on your Facebook feed, on your Twitter feed, on your LinkedIn feed, whatever feed you have, wherever you can share it. You never know who might see it and who might benefit from it. And we're here to try to help as many people as possible and give entertainment and education to as many people as possible. So be sure to help us spread the word. We would super duper appreciate that. And that's it. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.